Hi everyone, it's Linda from LindaZ in Arlington Heights, Illinois, and it is a cold, wintry January here. And so you can see that I have in front of me a wonderful cuddle blanket. I wish you could feel this. Oh my gosh, it is just so beautiful. I just saw a class upstairs and I told them it feels like not that I know what that feels like, but it feels like, or what do they call that? Mink, sheared mink. Yeah, it's just absolutely luxurious. Look at the back of this. Just beautiful. And I thought this would be a great video. At some point, I'm going to show you a couple little techniques on how to sew on cuddle or minky and give you some ideas. But the one thing I wanted to focus on today is the new MuVit Foot. It's a compact MuVit Foot that has come out from Brother in the last 6 months. I think it's just a wonderful foot, and it's really essential when you are working on this. And the big difference between the other MuVit Foot and this, well, there's a couple of things, but the major difference is, of course, the size. It's much easier to work with. It's not as bulky. And, of course, it has the double size, so you can click it down so it's ready to go. It's got a belt. It really is like in fact, this comes off. This is the foot that comes with it. It's got the lines on it for if you're turning and you want to do quilting or piecing with it. And then there's this little lever right here that fits right back on, and you can see it just clicks right in there, and it's just real simple to do. There's another foot that comes with the couching, and you can put couching on here. There's quite a few things you can do, but I'm going to focus today on attaching this wonderful minky. I've got 3 sides done. I'm going to do a 4th side for you and show you how it works with this foot. Now, number one, when you are putting this foot on, I have a 90 needle, by the way, in here. And you can see I can just slide it right on here, and then take your little Sam driver, this wonderful screwdriver that comes with the machine too. I'm sewing on today the Luminaire 3, but any of you that have Luminaires or Stellaires or Baby Lock Solaris or Meridians, all those machines can work with this wonderful new compact foot. And I would highly recommend it. And we are going to have a big special on it. The MuVit Foot is used for many things besides the minky and the cuddle. It can be used for knits. It can be used for anything stretchy, anything very heavy, leathers. It's wonderful for bags. I mean, there are so many uses for it. I can't even fathom that somebody wouldn't have one of these. It keeps everything from stretching out, and it also pulls your fabric through. So the stitch is nice and even. There's no puckering. There's no gathering. You will love this. Look at what I'm doing here. Do you see how I'm plugging this in the back here? There's a little opening. You don't have to open your door or anything, but it is important that you plug this in, because then the machine reads the foot. And again, I just tightened it with this little screwdriver that I wouldn't be without. There are a couple of other tools that I'll show you in a moment before I start that I used when I did this. And these are all, I think, necessary tools when you're doing this kind of work. Get yourself a little ruler. I measured 3 inches. I'm putting that binding all the way around. It's a facing. This is the backing. And then I just brought it around to the front. If you've never done a cuddle or minky blanket first, don't start with the large one like this. Always start with a little small, I think they call them, I don't know what they call them, lap blankets or something for kids. They're wonderful. Or just make a very small one for yourself, for your TV. This is the width of the fabric, and I believe this is 60 inches wide, and I think it's 48 inches, which is it's a big blanket, and you do have to have a very big table in order to work with it. Again, see the ruler? That's a great, really important thing. This is the best stylus for this, and I'm going to show you why you want this, because I'm going to actually do this. These are great little scissors for cutting. I'm not going to go into the details of how to make this and cut it, but I did use these wonderful Karen Buckley scissors. This is a new, I love what they did on this. It's a, I must have this fixation on seam rippers, probably because I use them a lot. And something that is very unusual, and Nick, I don't know if they can see this up close here, but see how there's a bigger arrow here and a smaller arrow down here? Look at there. There's the big arrow, the bigger seam ripper, and then the smaller arrow and the smaller seam ripper. There are many times when you want a smaller seam ripper to get into a tight area. For this particular blanket, you would want a bigger arrow. And the main reason why you might have to rip something like this out is because you might have not done your corners properly, and I did have one that I had to rip out, so I did use this. The other thing that I think is essential, and oh, do I love these. These are the new Cafe flower pins, and if you look at the blanket over here, and you can see right here that I have a ton of pins in this. And that's why I'm only doing one particular row at a time. And then I lay the blanket back out and readjust it because it's too big to pin all the way around. You'd be sticking yourself all over the place and it wouldn't be a lot of fun. So you want to do one border at a time. And because this is a knit, Cuddle and Minky, you know, they stretch, and it's slippery, so it could slide around. Once you get the techniques down, it's very, very wonderful to work with. But what I do is I pin at the border about 1/4 inch in from the edge, middle, and then at the end. And you want to keep these pins in there, and even once you're finished sewing, then you can remove them. I'll move the one as I'm going, but this I need as this little stylist I will need, and it's a by Annie one. And the reason why it's different, well, first of all, this one's done, and you can see I use it to brush this out. Now, there is a better way to do this. When I'm finished with this whole quilt, which I'm almost done with, I can throw it with a wet washcloth into into the dryer, and that will fluff it all up. Or if you think you've still got a lot of fuzzies around, I don't. Mine was very easy and it was very easy to clean up all the fuzz. But if you think you have, throw it in the machine and all that stuff will come out, and put it on delicate or do it quickly and then throw it back in the machine. And all this stuff will come out because I'm using, with this compact foot, a zigzag width. Now it sounds wide, and it is. It says number 5, and the stitch length is number 5. And on any machine, you could be doing this. It wouldn't matter. And if you don't have these beautiful compact feet, this is really an industrial size MuVit. They call it the MuVit walking foot. Many of your commercial machines will have something like this. So if you don't have something like that, you can definitely use a regular walking foot. Buy yourself a walking foot if you don't have one with your machine, and it will really work the same. So let's turn this around and get started so you can see how I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this right under the machine. I do have Mettler Metrazine 100 weight thread in the top and the bottom. So the bobbin is filled with that too. For me, it's very important that I do have a knee lift lever, because as you're going through this, you're using your stylus. And if you watch here what I'm going to do right now, you see how my foot is being raised and lowered? And that's really a key thing. I'm going to reach over here and get my foot control. When I'm doing a project like this, if you could see the bottom of this table, you'd be amazed how I'm doing this. I feel like a contortionist here today, but it's still going to work. I did the majority of this at home in my studio, so it was really fun. Now I have to get up a little closer because I want to be able to raise and lower this foot, because you see what I'm doing here with my, I hope we can get in here real close, Nick. Can they see this in the front? I want them to be able to see exactly how I'm going to start here. And this stylist has got a real rough area on the front of the point. And that's what's really great about it, because it kind of holds. You can see I'm holding this as I go in here. Can they see that? Okay, see that stylus going in real. And I'm holding these fuzzies back. And I'm going to start right at the edge. And what I'm going to do is do this real wide zigzag, and you may think that's too wide, but it's not. Look where the needle is. It's going right exactly over the edge of the cuddle. So it's right exactly on the edge. And you can see here's the needle, here's the opening of the foot, and I'm pushing this cuddle back over to the side so that it's not going to get caught in the foot. It doesn't matter if it does get caught, because when you throw this in the machine and the dryer, it will definitely come out. But watch when I start sewing. Now, you have to be very careful that you don't sew over pins. So I take that out and get it. And again, I'm going to go fairly slow with this because I want you to see exactly what I'm doing. See how I'm pushing that fiber back? So now I can go right over the edge. I might have to stop a little bit as I go along. And the reason you can tell why I have so many pins in here is because this would slide if I didn't have these pins holding this binding down. And by keeping those pins in there, it just makes all the difference in the world. And I have lots of flower pins, but these are really wonderful. They're a little bit lighter than some of my other ones. They're great for this. I would call these my cuddle pins because they really are perfect for this. Some of my quilting flower head pins are too heavy. They're wonderful for quilting, but this is it's a lightweight fabric, and when you're doing something like this, you want to be able to have the right tools. Now see, again, I'm going to raise my foot with my knee, and I'm bringing that foot up just slightly. See how my stylist is holding that down? Okay, now I know this sounds like a little bit of work to do this, but it really isn't. I mean, I could just go ahead and sew, but I really want it to be the right way. Okay, so I'm going to take that one out. Let's keep going. And you'll see as I go through this that a couple of these will get caught, and it doesn't matter. You definitely want to sew over the edge. I'm definitely got this on the edge, and that's why I love this compact piece compared to my older one. The other one was great. It works very well too, but it's very big and it's very clunky. This it doesn't get in the way of my fabric. I can see everything as I'm sewing along, and it's just a beautiful foot. I don't know, whoever designed this did a wonderful job on it. The majority of sewing machines have some kind of a walking foot or a dual feed, but I haven't seen any really that have this commercial belt-driven foot, and it is just a godsend for anybody who's doing a lot of this minky or cuddle. And again, what you want is you want it to be easy, so you'll be able to do these. There is another method that you could use. You could go ahead and, like, I have another video out that I did on fleece blankets. You could use that same technique on this and then not fold it over to the back or to the front. But I love the red with this, it's the gnomes, and they're good for winter too. So I thought it would be just so fun to do it with the actual border showing. Now do you see how I can pull? This is called Luxe Cuddle. And most of you that have been to our events with Teresa Coates, who has been a wonderful educator for us, have know how to use this and know the difference between the cuddles, but it never hurts to repeat. We had Teresa come with her mobile home, and it was just absolutely wonderful this summer. It was really fun. I'm sure she'll be back again, but she was at that time telling everybody about the different weights of cuddle. This is a 3 millimeter, so it's a little bit higher. The one that's on with the gnomes on it is just a regular cuddle. It's flat. It doesn't have a real high pile to it, but this red one is just outstanding. So I'll just sew to the end here, and then I'll show you what it looks like when we're finished. Now, as I'm sewing this, one of the things that I mentioned prior, and I want to make sure everybody's aware of it, when you put this foot on your machine, and once you start sewing with it or before you start sewing, there's a little lever back here that you want to turn down to engage this belt that's right here. And you can see that's why this is going through so beautifully, because the lever is engaged. And see how it just pulls it through. I'm not pushing or pulling this at all. It's just going through all on its own. And again, it's very slippery and it's heavy fabric. So, well, heavy and bulky. It's not real heavy. So now I'm at the end of the design, or the end of the border, and I'm just going to back up a little, cut my fabric, and look at how beautiful this is. This looks a little funny along here, but you can see I could even take my stylus and cut it, move it, and a lot of these fibers will come out. That's the beauty of having the zigzag, the long and the wide zigzag, because those fibers will come right back out all the way around. That's what will happen. Now, what I can do is, of course, take all these pins out. I wouldn't do that until I'm done, and especially the ones along the border, because the reason why, it definitely will slip. So I think we're finished up. I hope you'll try some of these techniques on this compact foot and enjoy the special savings that we have. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you next week.